All right, Jake, this is one we could talk around for a while, but let's try not to.
Yeah, we can try our best.
Anyway, so we all know esports is no longer the super niche industry that it used to be. You know,
growing.
very mainstream.
We're so big.
In fact, I was reading a report out of the University of Syracuse that by 2021 they predict that our viewership numbers will be on par with traditional sports, if not more likely better.
Oh God, you're just dropping. Oh man.
2021. And that's not even what
That's
I'm
a
talking.
year,
That's not
dude.
even the story I'm going to talk about
Why
is
do
about.
you have to bring up such controversial points that people are gonna hate us for?
They can hate me. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll take
Who
sides.
is going to argue that by 2021 we couldn't swing that?
A lot of people.
Who's going to argue that?
No. Okay, because
Yeah.
you just depend on the little gaming community that we have to side with us on everything. But there's going to be a lot of football football fans and American football fans and basketball fans that'll say, "No, Zan, that's not true." Let me preface by saying one thing before you go on, okay?
Shoot.
I like to oppose Zan on these kind of things because we like to be a little neutral together. 2021 to me seems to be a bit of a stretch because when I look at NFL, and I think
It was very faster than I would ever assume.
Okay, I think that could be correct for a lot of traditional sports, but when it comes to the top ones being NFL and football, that's soccer for us Americans, especially when it comes to the big events, I don't think we'll be anywhere near that for a long, long time. Anything else, I think, is pretty much free game, and that
You never know.
I think it's a fair statement to make. That's only 5% of traditional sports. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near there for a long time. Anything else though, NBA, MLB, the lesser traditional sports, I think you're right. But tell me about this study because that's a statement and a half.
Okay, yeah, I'm not talking about this study. That study specifically. I'm talking about another research paper actually. I love research papers.
Fair enough.
Well,
We know you do.
Yeah, but anyway. This new popularity that we have is kind of a problem because now cybersecurity people are taking notice, and now they're like, how can we make life bad for esports and gaming? How can we profit?
Are we not going to talk about the viewership growing?
We can kind of in this, and it's because the
What's the segue?
It's because the viewership is growing that this is becoming a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because now it's becoming much more lucrative for hackers to take advantage of esports specifically.
I get that completely.
Yeah, so what this research paper has been looking at is what exactly are we going to see in the next few years, and how is that going to look for the esports and gaming community as a whole? So basically, the market for gaming and esports related accounts, say buying an account, apparently is now just as saturated and just as popular as the market for buying actual credit cards for hackers.
Wow. So buying Steam accounts, in-game accounts, that kind of stuff.
Right. Yes. It's which I would never think.
I mean, if they do have thousands of dollars of value on them, I mean that's a lucrative market.
Yeah, definitely, right?
And especially when you look at the vulnerable ages that own those accounts.
Especially the lack of security that I imagine a lot of kids have.
Epic Games included at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in what the bigger story here is how I think hackers are apparently, according to this research paper, they're going to start targeting actual game developers and events, esports events and streams specifically.
Which we've already seen.
Yep.
The esports and gaming data breach of 2019 has come to a tremendous close. We've had so many over the past few months.
See, and the thing is, none of those were even really hackers. They were just accidental.
They were leaks almost by the people that were on the team. So imagine if someone's actually physically trying day in, day out.
A person who was willing to spend the time to actually search.
We're in trouble, folks.
No, yeah. So apparently, DDoS services for gaming specifically are so cheap right now. They're in the $10 per month range. And they're just offering say you don't like Shroud, right? And you see Shroud is streaming a new game. And you're just you know what, let me DDoS Shroud real quick. So let me just put in a request and done. Shroud can no longer play. Say you are just say the OWL is going on, right? And you're you know what, I could make some money real quick. So let me DDoS them during their event and then make them pay ransom to get their servers back.
Or bet on the opposing team, or
I mean, and they did this
ransom,
research paper.
Blackmail might not work out too well, but you never know.
You would think not, but apparently it's a huge problem because apparently it's so easy to DDoS a lot of these companies because they don't have good enough security. In a very brief look that they took in this research paper, I'm not saying the name of the paper specifically because I don't want people to find it because there's so much scary information in here that could be
useful to hackers?
so easily if you don't. I would say even if you're not a hacker, if you're just like a random dude.
You'd think if they could hack,
You
man, they
just
probably
wanna-
are going to find this article.
Well, if they can hack, yes. My concern is the random people who
Oh,
have
who are just
money,
going to go, okay.
who will just say, "Hey, here's here's $50."
Or
you know?
ducks.
Yeah, or ducks. You know, $50 would be a little bit more lucrative, I imagine. A little bit more hassle to transport, but but anyway. So yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, you briefly touched on match fixing. Apparently, that alongside illegal gambling are also going to skyrocket.
Oh, for sure, especially in China and the Asian region. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely.
The corruption's only going to get more insane, and the corruption has a wide lens. So, I mean, obviously DDoSing, hacking accounts, match fixing, and then
Botting accounts.
that's all in the lens of I would say corruption.
Yeah, absolutely. And according to this article, or this paper rather, if you do not have two-factor authentication, you need it right now on all of your stuff, because it is.
I would say that's a fair statement.
Hackers are actively looking at this point to take your Steam account from you and sell it. And hey, maybe you get it back at the end of the day. Maybe you get it back in 6 months. But they're actively trying to the extent where they've specifically written like software, like malware, to look through your computer, see, hey, does this person play Call of Duty? Let me lock his Call of Duty account, make him pay to get it back. And if you spent thousands of hours on the game, then what are you gonna do? Pay the $500 to get your account back? Or you're just gonna take the hit? You know, and it sucks for everybody involved, but it's just the new reality that we gotta be aware of.
I think we're definitely entering the new era of what once was, you know, being hacked on being almost like trade scammed on games. Trade scamming is always going to be a thing, but now we just have so many other options in terms of what people can take and steal and dive into of yours. And so I think it's incredibly fair based off what we first started talking about. The viewership, the player base, we're only growing. And in a growing market, you're going to see people take advantage of the newer player base, even the existing player base.
Absolutely.
And when there's a growing market out there, there's a growing way to exploit that growing market. So just be careful, everybody.
Yeah, be on guard.
Every possible way you can be careful. You're going to look back and say you should have done it. You should be doing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ourselves probably included.
Oh, I take all the precautions.
I know you do.
I have like fake credit card, or not fake, but like
Christ.
they're like digital cards that I put my actual card into, so nobody has my actual card number. So worst case, they try to take money from the fake card.
I'm not
and
quite like that.
No, it's easy.
Next week we're gonna talk about. I want you to revisit, please, though, that first story.
2021. Oh yeah, I've still got the research paper.
Heck yeah, we'll tap into that next week for sure. Then.
Absolutely.